You're mastering the art of the pendulum step with its quick in and out movement, but maybe you've been told that you are too short to use that effectively in fighting, or you're a tall boxer wondering how you can use this technique against fighters who are even taller than you. In this video I'll show you exactly how to use the pendulum step even if you're up against opponents who have reach advantage. I will break down strategies the shorter fighters use to succeed and how you can do the same. If you're here for the first time, my name is Andriy Khotin and I am a former amateur boxer and active coach from Ukraine. On this channel we help boxers level up their game with Eastern European methods. And right now we're gonna dive in the offensive strategies of how you can use the pendulum step as a shorter fighter. And the first strategy we'll using the level changes. And by level changes I mean going down and up constantly. So you start with in and out movement and then you add this like dips. So you move in and out and then you go low and up. And from the side it will look like this. In and out and then low up, low up. And you will use this to set up body punches first. And then once your opponent starts to react to them, you will attack their head after a feint. Start with moving in and out at the edge of your opponent's distance because he's gonna be taller, he's gonna control you, so you have to stay there. And then you catch his timing. So he will move in and out, and when he goes in and you go in, you can do this like dip. And yeah, with that dip you can throw a punch. So you move like this, and then when you see an opening, you will throw a punch to their body. The jab works really well, and the cross works perfectly because those are the longest punches in your arsenal. And once they start to react to your body punches, you'll attack their head when they drop their guard. So you'll go like this, and then you go low and go up with the hook, for example. Or you go low and go up with the cross, and that will land. And a good example will be Alexander Usyk, who used that a lot against Anthony Joshua. Okay, the second strategy is hiding power shots. So with this rhythm of in and out movement with pendulum step, you can really like hide your power punches. So you start moving in and out, and then you start adding this one bounce slightly to the side. For example, I go in, and then I go slightly to my left, like this, and from the side, like in, and a little bit to the side. So first of all, that adds me head movement, and second of all, I can use this to set up a powerful lead hook. So I go in, out, here. Then I repeat this, in, out, and here I stay, I don't go back, and from here, from the new angle, I will attack with the hook. Привет. Then the third strategy will be something similar, and it's breaking your rhythm in your movement. So you go in and out constantly, but now I don't want you to go back, I want you to stay on your lead foot, and from this position you will also lean in a little and throw, for example, your rear hand. You can see Pacquiao doing that a lot. He moves in and out, right? Then he moves here. When his opponent expects him to move back, he stays here and throws his rear hand. And then he just moves to the side or continues his attack. And the fourth tactic will be throwing punches in bunches. So you can start moving in and out quickly with the pendulum step, and then you can like jump in and quickly switch to the regular steps. It will look something like this. For example, like this. Those were 4 straight punches, but you can mix up different attacks. So I move in and out. Then when I see an opening, for example, my opponent throws the jab, and I can go now after him. So when I see a good opportunity, I can dive in really quickly. So I jump, but then I go in with these quick steps. And the key is in the transition. So I bounce, but then I go like this. Manny Pacquiao is a master of that. The fifth offensive strategy is using realistic feints. So when you're moving with the pendulum step, your body moves all at once. And in this rhythm, every your step forward, you can extend slightly your arms forward, and that will already look like a punch. So every step in could be a possible punch. And then to feint even better, more realistically, you will just add some speed. So you move like this, and then you step a little bit more and extend your foot and arm forward and add speed. So it will look like this. what do the feints do? They drag a reaction. And here are 3 possible reactions from your opponent. First of all, he can just break the distance. Because he's taller, that's the easiest way for him to escape. So he will just go back. And this way you will win a position. Then the second reaction is trying to dodge or block that punch. For example, he decides to use his head movement when I feint. Then I see that he tries to slip, right? And when he slips, I go back, and then as he moves up, I attack him. And the third one, he may try to counter your feint. So you do a feint, and he believes that that is a punch, and for example, he does a pullback and the cross. And you feint, then you step back, he commits to his punch, and he cuts the distance himself. And then you just counter-attack him with a combination. Then the thick strategy is creating angles to your lead side really quickly. So imagine I stay stationary with my flat feet, and creating angle like this is slower than if I bounce from the beginning, and from here I can add speed because I'm already on my toes. I move like this, then to the side, in, out, create angle, and from here I attack my opponent. And that will be a good position advantage, but that is a very advanced skill which is hard to perform, as well as many other skills in this video. To master those skills, you need a well-designed boxing program, for example like the KO boxing package, which includes 50 boxing workouts with hundreds of drills. It includes weightlifting program, it includes running workout, it has tips for your better performance overall in life, and of course a private supportive community. So if you want to level up your boxing game quickly, get the KO boxing package. First link in the description. Okay, moving further, we have the next strategy, and which is controlling and removing their lead hand. So when you're a short guy and they're a tall guy, that's most likely, if you both use the pendulum step, that you will stay at the edge of each other's distance, and you will play with your lead hands. So they will be extended, and it will look something like fencing with their swords. And what you can do is to remove their hand to create an opening. So for example, you go in, out, then you just drag their hand down just a little bit, because you drag it too much, you will open up yourself. So you just like tap it so it goes down. So you move, you tap it and go with the jab, for example, or you tap it and go with the cross. Also, you can move it to the side, so you go in and out, then you remove their lead hand and go with the cross. For example, Volodymyr Klitschko dropped Anthony Joshua with a big right hand using this. And if they are taller than you, they will have easier time to keep their hand on top of yours. So they will try to push your hand down all the time. And what you can do, you can lift their hand to create opening to the body punch. So you go like this, and then you just lift their lead hand and go to the body. So you lift, go to the body. Well, then we have our next strategy, and that is repetitive attacks. Manny Pacquiao does that really well. So what he does, he backs up his opponent on corners, for example, and he moves, he throws a flurry of punches, then instead of going into the distance, because he usually fights guys who are like tougher than him, that can slug him out and hit him with the big hand. So he doesn't want to stay here, and he prefers to go back and then repeat his attack. Go back and then repeat his attack. And that looks something like this. So he just goes in, attacks, goes out, and repeats this process over and over again. Alright, and the last offensive strategy is the change of direction in your movement. So for example, we move in and out, and slightly spin to the side, like this. So we move in a circle. And from here, I go to the other side quickly and go in. So I will cut the distance, and I will create a new angle and attack you unexpectedly. Or I can do even 2 changes of direction. For example, I go in, then I bounce left, I bounce right. At the same time, I move my head and I cut the distance, which is really good as a shorter fighter. And then I go in with a big right hand, for example. And now let's move to the defensive and counter-punching strategies. If you're enjoying this video so far and you find it helpful, please make sure to hit that like button and be subscribed, because I post more content like this. And our first defensive and counter-attacking strategy will be using the step backs. So you will always stay at the edge of your opponent's distance, and you don't need like really big step backs, just a little bit, a few centimeters, and then once you defend a punch, you can always go after it. So where is defense, there is counter punching. So for example, we stay, I make you fall in when you commit, and then I go after you. So I move, then I step back and go after you. So like this. Also use step backs when you are in the middle of attack. For example, you attack and then you need to exit from that. And the step back is a really good way to exit, as we discussed before in this video. Okay, the next tip is using the lateral movement with the pendulum step. And it's really good when your opponent starts to press charges on you and he puts pressure. So he tries to go after you and you need to escape corners and to avoid those powerful punches. For example, I'm going here and here is not much point in moving in and out, right? Because I'm against the corner. Where do I go back even more? So that's why I can get a little more squared, and that will add a lot of speed in my lateral movement. And from here I can escape to the sides. For example, my opponent goes after me, then I do this triangle step, so I get more squared, and I start moving like this, and I can go quickly here. So for example, he rushes at me, I see that, and I go like this. And then I get a better position and we continue fighting. And the last counter-punching tip is using simultaneous counters. So when you already understand the rhythm of your opponent, you time his punches, and when he goes at you, you go blow to blow with him. So he commits to his punch and he cuts distance himself. So he does your job for you. So he gets in the range himself. And what you need to do is also get in the range, and this is very important, move your head over the center line and you go in. You hit him hard because he moves at you, you move at him, but he misses and you land. And Alexander Usyk is a true master of this with his timing, and he makes his weaker shots drop bigger guys. If you want to be the best, you have to train like the best. And to train like the best, you need fight wear from the best. And you can get a t-shirt like this from Alexander's Usyk brand, ready to fight. Second link in the description, use code HOTIN10 for 10% off. And now let's talk about the ring management strategies with the pendulum step as a shorter fighter. So what you can do is applying pressure pretty safely. So as a shorter fighter, you have to move after your opponent because they're taller, they will keep the distance and move away. And often they go in a circle around the ring and you have to go after them. So what you can do is using the pendulum step to apply pressure safely. So you follow them, but you keep the distance at the same time because you move in and out. So you're in the range and you're out. But when you use your flat foot movement, you'll just be slower, you'll have to rely on your head movement and blocks. And that is a little bit more risky because you will have higher chances of getting hit. So that's why pendulum step can help you apply pressure more safely. And the next strategy is following your opponent and cutting escape routes very quickly. So for example, imagine this. I hit my opponent really hard with the overhand and now he's rugged. And I want to finish him off. So I have to quickly go after him. I will move like this. So I can go forward, I can go backward this way, I can go to the sides, and I will use this like kind of shuffle step. So I can go pretty quickly through all the ring to the side, and of course I will not just rush in my opponent like this. I will go to him, to his range, and then here I will slow down and take it slower because I don't want to get that counter punch. So that is how you can use the pendulum step as a shorter fighter, and if you want to master that, you need some good drills for that, and I share a lot of them in this video right here, so go watch this one now. Thanks for watching and stay sharp!